The disappearance of Naya Roberts had begun as a whisper and grew into a roar. Everyone had a theory. Everyone had a suspicion. But all eyes seemed to circle back to the same person, Tessa Monroe, the last one to see Naya alive. When Naya and Tessa walked toward Ridgeway Creek that morning, they carried no more than notebooks and whispered hopes. But only one returned. Tessa emerged from the woods hours later, her clothes damp, her eyes swollen from tears. To the casual observer, she looked like a grieving friend. But to investigators something was off. For one, she had Naya's notebook in her bag. For another, her story shifted subtly each time she retold it. At first, she said Naya had gone deeper into the forest alone. Later, she claimed she had lost sight of her. Still later, she suggested Naya had spoken of wanting to sacrifice her old life. It was enough inconsistency to draw suspicion. Detective Marcus Yates, the lead investigator, later admitted, "I couldn't shake the feeling that Tessa wasn't telling us everything. Whether she was scared or guilty, I couldn't tell. But she knew more than she let on." The discovery of Naya's notebook became a turning point. Its pages were filled with symbols, some resembling ancient runes, others more like personal sketches. Scattered between them were journal entries that swung between hopeful reflection and ominous warnings. One chilling passage read, "The test of friendship is sacrifice. Tonight the heart chooses." Another entry, dated 3 days before her disappearance, seemed to reference Tessa directly. "She follows but not for truth. She seeks a heart that is not hers. I fear the woods will demand a price, and I fear she does not understand the cost." Investigators confronted Tessa with these entries. She broke down, sobbing, but maintained her innocence. "I swear I never hurt her," she cried. "She was my best friend. I only wanted to be loved." But the notebook cast a long shadow. While investigators pursued leads, Adrian Blake retreated into silence. He stopped attending classes regularly, stopped answering calls, and stopped showing up to the cafe where he and Naya once sat for hours. Friends described him as haunted, a young man carrying guilt like a second skin. One friend, Evan Cross, recalled, "Adrian told me he wished he'd never met either of them. He said he felt like his presence had poisoned their friendship, like he was the reason Naya was gone. But was his guilt merely survivor's grief, or something more?" Rumor spread that Adrian had been with Tessa shortly after Naya vanished, that he had tried to comfort her, and that in those quiet moments, Tessa confessed feelings she had buried for years. If true, it raised unsettling questions. Had Tessa's jealousy finally pushed her over the edge? And if so, had Adrian unknowingly stepped into the very trap she had set? Search parties scoured Ridgeway Creek for weeks. Volunteers, dogs, even drones were deployed. Yet no trace of Naya was found. No clothing, no footprints, no body. But there were whispers of strange discoveries. One searcher claimed to have found a ring of stones arranged in a circle, with burnt wax pooled in the dirt. Another swore they heard faint singing in the trees, a melody eerily similar to a tune Naya was known to hum. Detective Yates dismissed some of these as imagination, but others he logged carefully. In his private notes, later leaked to the press, Yates wrote, "Something happened in those woods. Whether ritual, accident, or crime I do not know. But the silence of the place feels deliberate, like the forest itself is keeping secrets." Though never formally charged, Tessa became the court of public opinion's primary suspect. On social media, posts accused her of jealousy, of witchcraft, of betrayal. Strangers hurled insults when she walked to class. Someone spray-painted the word murderer on her dorm door. Her own family began to question her. At a breaking point, Tessa gave an interview to a local paper, her eyes hollow, her voice shaking. "I loved Naya. She was everything to me. But she always had everything. And Adrian, he never even saw me. I just wanted." She stopped mid-sentence, staring at the floor. The reporter later described it as the most unsettling silence of her career. What had Tessa been about to confess? Months into the investigation, One final page from Naya's notebook surfaced. It had been torn, hidden in the lining of her bag. Faded but legible, it read, "If love is the root, then loss is the price. One must fall so the other may rise." The cryptic line ignited speculation. Had Naya foreseen her own disappearance? Was it metaphor, or a literal prophecy of what was to come? And who was meant to rise? Tessa, now alone with Adrian. Detective Yates admitted the page chilled him more than anything else in the case. It felt less like a journal entry and more like a farewell. Nearly a year after Naya's disappearance, Adrian finally spoke publicly at a campus memorial. His words shocked everyone. "I cared for Naya, cared for Tessa, but I think one of them cared too much. And that's what destroyed everything." The crowd gasped. Many believed he was pointing directly at Tessa. Others thought he was admitting his own role in the love triangle that tore the girls apart. Tessa, seated in the audience, reportedly fled the ceremony in tears. Then came the letter, delivered anonymously to the Roberts family. It was written in handwriting strikingly similar to Naya's. It said only this: "I am not gone. I am becoming. Do not look for me." The sacrifice was necessary. Experts debated whether it was authentic or a cruel forgery. Some claimed it proved Naya had left of her own free will. Others believed it was Tessa's attempt to divert suspicion. Detective Yates remained unconvinced either way. "The problem with this case," he said, "is that every answer leads to 3 more questions. 2 years have passed since Naya Roberts walked into Ridgeway Creek and vanished. Tessa lives in near isolation, shunned by many, haunted by whispers. Adrian left town, his whereabouts unknown. And the Roberts family still lights a candle for their daughter every night. But the story refuses to die. Just last month, hikers near Ridgeway claimed they saw a barefoot young woman standing at the tree line, watching them. Her hair unbraided, her eyes distant, she looked eerily like Naya. When they called out, she vanished into the shadows. And so the question remains. Was Naya Roberts a victim of jealousy and betrayal? Or did she truly cross into something beyond, leaving her friend, her family, and her life behind? The woods are silent. Tessa is silent. But silence, as detectives know, is rarely empty. Because sometimes the scariest truth is not what you discover, but what you cannot explain. The end.